Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different from my usual abstract art, and I'm going to show you how to make an image look 3D. So it's going to be more of a sketchy drawing video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to draw a rose that I made using origami. I've taken a picture of it on a piece of paper so I can see where the shadows would lie, and I'm going to draw that. So keep on watching if you would like to see the techniques that I use. So what I would suggest when wanting to draw something in 3D is getting an object and putting it on a piece of paper and then photographing it like I just said. It's a really good way of seeing where the shadows lie. For example, right now if I put my hand here, you can see the shadows here. If I raise it up, the shadow starts to go to the left because I've got the light source on the right. I've got like some objects here, so if I placed this standing upright, but you would see where the shadows lie, you could take pictures of it. So I've taken a picture of my origami flower here, and I'm gonna draw this one on to the page, hopefully making it look nice and 3D like it's showing on the piece of paper now. Okay, so a good idea actually at this point would be to use this as a marker, so the actual 3D origami flower that I've got here. So I could actually use it just to mark some points on my page so that I can make sure it's the right kind of size. So I'm just doing some really small marks on the page. Might also be good to mark where the shadows are coming up to. Just doing some really light lines here. And we can go over this later on. And just make sure again, like I've said, it's really light, just using the edge of your pencil. Okay, so I think I've got enough grid lines there. That you probably won't be able to see them on the screen, but they're very faded. They're like just little points where I can see where the petals will end and the shadows will start. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing an outline using the picture that I've already taken of it. So here goes. Yeah, what I suggest actually is using either a really light pencil, so I've got a HB here, or using one of these clicky pencils. I find are quite good. Make sure you don't use black pencil or any really dark colours, because this is just the outlining stage. So at this point, don't worry about putting too much detail in. I'm just going to get the shape first. I'm going to do my image today in black and white, but of course if you want to practice in colour, or doing bits of it in black and white and adding little bits of colour. So you can already see little mistakes that I've made, but again, this is just such a really early stage. You can go over and rub out anything that you're not happy with. I use this eraser called Doant, and it's just an electric razor, battery powered, and it's quite handy for when you're just wanting to get little mistakes out here. I find that with the big rubbers, if you're doing a really light, using a really light pencil, it might make marks on the paper. And if you feel like you've got the position wrong, just place the object back on the page and you can do some more dots, or try and figure out where the lines would start. Now I think the hardest bit about doing a 3D drawing is getting the shading and shadowing correct. That's the part that's going to turn the image from 2D into 3D. So I'll show you a couple of the tools that I use just to blend out the shading as much as I can. Okay, so I've got the general outline of it. I'm just going to do a couple more details for the centre. Okay, so I've just zoomed in a bit as well so that you can see better. So I've got this. Okay, so I've got my outline sorted. Okay, so for this next bit, you're going to want to get some greaseproof paper, tracing paper. I've just got this brown piece here. It would be better if it was the see-through type, but this is all I had. And this is just to protect the page from smudging, from the pencil getting onto your hands, and sort of smudging all over the page, and also to protect the artwork underneath. So I just use that to lean on. What I'm going to do is start by doing the darkest areas first. I'm going to use a graphite crayon. This is 6B. You can get them in Hobbycraft or any kind of art shops or Amazon. And this is quite a thick one, but I'm just going to use this for the really dark, thick sections. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing the outside of the rose, and I'm just going to go in using just slight pressure, and try not to vary the pressure because that will change the density and the darkness of the pencil colour. So I'm just doing a really rough drawing over here. And what I would suggest is just having a really smooth surface underneath so you don't pick up the surface of the wood or surface that you're working on. I've just piled on about 10 pieces of paper under this one just to make sure it's smooth, but you can buy a smooth work pad or something to place underneath it. So don't worry if it's sort of looking a bit messy, we're just going to keep blending it out. This is just putting it on the paper, and we can build up the tone of it as well later on, but we're just going to start by doing the basic. Okay, so I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do next is grab one of these. Now these you use to blend out the pencil colour. You can get them again in most art stores. It's just I think it's rolled up. Kind of forgotten what these things are called, but I will write it down in the link below or on the page right now. But I think they're just called blending pencils, and it just helps to blend out the lead. So what I would use is sort of circular motions going up and down the page. You can sharpen the edge of this by just chopping it off. So again, yeah, just using circular, quite hard pressure and circular motions, just starting to blend out this lead. So this does take a while, so be patient with it, but the results are really great. And again, if you're not happy with the coverage, you can just keep going over it, which is the great thing about these pencils and this kind of effect. And what I like doing for the next bit is this bit up here has also got shadow, and because I've got some lead already on my blending pencil here, I can kind of just use it to do the next section up here without having to apply more pencil on the page. And this is just with quite light pressure, just pressing it on the page and sort of building that up slowly. And if you need more on your pencil, you just sort of work on this darker bit again, get more on the, and then you can go back in here and build it up again. And obviously the great thing about this is if you do make a mistake, it's just pencil and you can use a rubber and start again on the bit that you want to, or that you're not happy with. I also sometimes use my finger to blend it out, I try not to too much because obviously your finger has grease on it, and you don't want to mix that with the pencil, but I do sometimes. So I want this bit a bit darker, so I'm going to go over it once more with the graphite pencil. Okay, so I've got quite a nice dark colour there, and I'm just going to use the blending pencil again just to properly blend that out. Okay, so this moment I'm just going to sharpen up the edges a bit using a black coloured pencil. Yeah, and I'm just going to use it just to sharpen up the edges slightly. Okay, so now I've sharpened up the edges, I'm going to start filling in some of the darker bits on the inside. So I'm just going to carry on actually using this black pencil for it a little bit. And just whilst I've got a little bit on the edge of my blending brush here, I'm going to start building up a bit of colour. Okay, so I'm quite happy with the dark colours. I'm going to start building up the rest of the shading of the flower. So I'm going to zoom out a bit. There we go. And I'm going to carry on using the same technique that I've been going on about. What I would suggest doing is having a piece of paper on the side. You can rub really dark on this piece of paper here, and then you can pick it up using this and then use it on the paper. So I'm just going to sort of draw a lot of black on here, and then I can use this to pick up some of the colour, and then I can go in here and start to build up some of the shading. Okay, so I've finished my basic rose shape. Next bit I'm going to do is bring in some shading around the outside to make it look more 3D. So what I've got here is just a piece of charcoal, and I'm going to rub it on this piece of paper that I've been doing the graphite pencil on, just like this. And then I'm actually going to use my finger and rub it in there, and then slowly just start to build up this colour on the outside using like circular motions. And I'm really just going to darken up the whole page. Then I'm just going to use my soft pencil here and build it up a little bit more. Okay, so I've built up some colour around the edge just using a pencil and my fingers. I'm going to go in and do the really dark shadows now, and what I'm going to use again is the graphite pencil here and my blending pencil. So I'm just going to add a little bit more here. Not too much, I don't want it to look too dark. So at this point I'm just sharpening up the lines just so that it makes it look a lot more clearer. I'm just using a sharp pencil to get a few more details in. So now I'm just blending out these shadows here, making them a little bit darker, and also making the shape around the side a bit less sharp and blurring out a bit more. And this is really the final step to making your image look 3D. Okay, so here is my 3D image of an origami flower. If I wanted to go in more depth, and maybe it's something I can do in another video, I could also do one in colour. I think the colour would make it look even more 3D and make it pop out even more. And also if I had more time I would probably shade the whole piece of paper, just because I think if it had a darker background, light grey, then this would pop out even more. But I'm quite pleased with the way it looks. The shading, again, if I was doing it properly and had a lot more time, I would probably try and blend this out a bit more. But in general, this is a good way of doing a 3D image, just taking photographs and working from the photographs, seeing where the shadows lie. So thank you all for watching this video today. I hope this has helped. I hope this has given you an insight into some of the techniques used to create a 3D image. I would be happy to do some more if this is the kind of thing you like watching, or show you a couple of other techniques using grid lines and lined paper, things like that. But anyway, that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. If you're interested in watching some more of my videos, please hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you all back here very soon. Bye!